We're going to be spending the night in a historic cabin up here in the Kenai National Wildlife Refuge. Right now we're hiking along the Pollard Horse Trail. This section of the trail is still within the Kasilof Equestrian Trail, but we soon will be going into the Kenai National Wildlife Refuge. We're going to hike probably about 7 miles or so up to Tustumena Lake, and we're going to stay at the nurse's cabin. The nurse's cabin is a historic cabin. It's been there since the 40s. It's a pretty rustic and rough kind of place. It should be pretty interesting. So the nurse's cabin sits on the shores of Tustumena Lake, built in the 40s by a couple of nurses that worked for one of the canneries at the mouth of the Kasilof River, and they would venture up here in the summer times, and they ended up building a cabin with the help of a trapper up here on Tustumena Lake. And I think their original intent was to live up here part-time, but the cabin has since been somewhat restored from the wildlife refuge, and it is open for public use. We had a huge fire here on the Kenai Peninsula back in 2014, and it burned all of this area. So we're going to pretty much be hiking through a burned forest with lots of new growth coming up. And you can see, I'll do a little panning around here, you can see all of the young trees, the aspens, poplars, willows, birch, all growing up in place of the largely spruce forest that existed here before. But it should be pretty interesting. The wildlife refuge took a brush hog all the way up to the lake, so the trail's pretty wide and clear. So we've been walking through so much forest that has been burned, but every now and then we'll come up on these patches like this where hardly anything got touched. It's pretty cool. You'll walk through these sections of forest where everything is how it's been for a lot of years. This one here is a great example. So we're getting our first glimpse of Tustumena Lake. It's that blue thing through the trees there. We'll probably be to the cabin in 15-20 minutes. We've got less than a mile now. We made it to the nurse's cabin. It's a pretty small, rustic looking cabin. It's got a little Arctic entryway on it. Do a little walk around here for you. It's in a pretty nice little location though. Nice gravel path going down to some pretty nice little beach areas. We'll go down there in just a minute. Doing a little walk around here. Now, of course, this cabin, like I was saying earlier, was built in the 40s. but it has since had work done on it, of course. It's got tongue and groove on the ceiling and a metal roof. Inside is pretty cleaned up. Floors painted, wood stove's relatively new. There was firewood here. There's a couple of saws, an axe, shovel. Got the outhouse over here. And they've got tying posts for horses. And we got the wood stove going, warming up the cabin. That'll be kind of nice. And there's just a few trees around here that managed to survive the fire. Because boy, other than right here, it's pretty decimated in that direction. Well, we'll go inside here and I'll show you all this. There's not light in here, so hopefully the camera will still be able to see things. They've left cleaning supplies, extra toilet paper, water, a bunch of stuff like that. Inside, the window, nice table, couple of beds. Hopefully this stuff shows up. It's kind of dark in here and kind of dark and cloudy outside, but there's the wood stove. It's got a nice counter over there. Somebody even has one of those little thin LED light strips up there. So if you brought a USB battery source, you could plug it in and have a light in here. Fire extinguisher, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of the chinking in the walls has been redone lately. I don't know if you can see these smaller pieces of wood that they have put in there to help hold. They chink these walls with muskeg, which grows around here, you know. You can see some areas there's a little bit of light coming through there, so you can kind of pack it in a little bit better. But it was pretty effective. There's muskeg all over here, and made really good chink for the cabins. Or made a really good chink for the cabins. This is probably a better example of what's going on inside, although this looks like it was here a little bit before. So it's got a nice fire pit. There's my white dog in there. I'll take you down this little trail. Yeah, looks like they hauled up a bunch of gravel from the beach here. Nice little path. And there it is, Tustumena Lake. Pretty nice area here. Should be able to get a lot of nice photos here in the morning, provided you can see the mountains. It got kind of cloudy today. It was nice and sunny earlier, but the clouds kind of put a bit of a damper on the situation. Well, good morning, everybody. We made it through the night. It was actually quite nice. The cabin stayed nice and warm and cozy. And we're getting ready to make the trek back, but I figured I would walk you down here to the beach a little bit. We can look at the mountains, maybe be able to see a little bit more than we saw yesterday. It was kind of cloudy. Well, it's still very cloudy. It's quite cloudy, so we're only going to be able to see so much of the mountains, but still very nice. So one thing I discovered this morning when I was coming to use the outhouse, they have a pretty new outhouse here. It's really nicely done, but I don't know if you can see this right here. Something bit it. Pretty sure it was a bear. You can see tooth marks. They chipped all this off, and this is fairly recent. It's not weathered too much, so this happened within the last little while. And if you come around here to the back, looks like he was trying to do the same thing. Must have smelled something good in there. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this adventure. This cabin is for rent, $35 a night. You can go over to recreation.gov and book your time. And it is 7.2 miles on the horse trail by horseback or foot. Or, of course, you can come up here on a boat. In the wintertime, you can do a snow machine. I suppose people fly up here and land their planes on the lake, too. So, at any rate, this is a great deal. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a really nice little hike up here. I kind of wish the weather had been better. The mountains, looking to the east, is very beautiful when there's not quite so many clouds. It's still nice, but it's much better when it's clear. So if you liked this video and you'd like to see more videos about hiking here on the Kenai Peninsula, just remember to like and subscribe. And you can join us again next time for another hiking adventure.